Hello, welcome to a very different video. I know I say that a lot, but it is actually this time. Today we are taking a look at my Digimon VPET and Digivice collection. Now obviously this channel is very Pokemon orientated, but I have many other interests. If you take one glance around my room, you'll be able to tell that immediately. And one of them is Digimon, probably the biggest competitor to Pokemon back in the day. Not so much anymore. And yeah, I have quite the collection of VPETs and Digivices. Because for people who aren't aware, VPET specifically, this lot over here, that's where Digimon started. Digimon started as essentially a boys version of Tamagotchi that Bandai put out way back in the day. That's how Digimon started, as a virtual pet, not as a video game like Pokemon did. The Digimon video games and the anime came later on. This isn't going to be like a review, this isn't going to be like a walkthrough of any of them. This is just going to be taking a look at my collection, talking a bit about each device and what I like, what I don't like, and just talking about some of my favourites and stuff, and hopefully you enjoy it. I will make a quick distinction now. So we've got a line right here. Just imagine there's a line. This lot are virtual pets. These are the VPETs. These are Digivices. The main difference between them is the virtual pets are, they are what they are. They're virtual pets. You have to look after them, you have to feed them, you have to pick up their mess. It's a lot more hands-on. There's not really much in terms of gameplay. It's just about raising your Digimon, doing different things with their stats, raising them in different ways to get different types of Digimon. Whereas the Digivices are more like adventure handhelds. All of the ones here have some kind of pedometer inside them that counts your steps, and that's how you kind of adventure through the game and evolve your Digimon. There's no sort of, virtual pet aspect. There's no taking care of your Digimon. There's no feeding it and stuff like that. They're a lot more passive, like adventure games, kind of similar to something like the Pokewalker that you got with Heart Gold and Soul Silver. But yeah, let's crack on. So first off, we're going to be taking a look at the Digimon 20th VPET. You can see right there, Digimon 20th.
Digimon! Prepare to Digimon, the original digital monster. How well you train him determines the monster you get. Yeah. Train him to Shadow Box, to battle. And when you've taught him enough,
this was released to commemorate the 20th anniversary of Digimon, I believe in 2017. This is sort of a combination. So when the original VPET came out, it was released in 5 different versions, and depending on the version you got a different lineup of Digimon that you could possibly get. For the Digimon 20th, they combined all 5 of those versions, as well as some extras, some new Digimon. And there's a ton of different colours of these, there's a ton of different variants, but they're all the exact same board inside. They're just different colours. It doesn't affect the Digimon that you will get. As far as I'm aware, there might be 1 or 2 variants that are different. But this is a pretty bog standard VPET. You do get 2. You get 2 eggs at the start, which is pretty nice. You get 2 different Digimon, and you can choose all the different eggs, all the different lines. I'll say now as well, if you are wanting more information on these devices and specific devices, walkthroughs and stuff, I'll leave a link to the Humulos website in the description. It's probably like the best resource for all of this stuff, so I highly recommend checking that website out if you are curious on the different variants and stuff. But mine is the glow-in-the-dark variant. It's just the one that I like the most, really. But on here we've got Omegamon and Examon. This is a pretty cool device. You've got a ton of different Digimon you can get, ton of different routes you can do with them, but it does have a couple of flaws. So there's a bug in this version where the Digimon will crap a lot, and they did eventually fix it in the Digimon 20th, I think it's called the Revised or the Revival or something like that. But that was a Bandai Premium limited item. It was only 2 colorways, and they've never done it since. Every other colorway of the Digimon 20th that they've released since that has still been the glitchy version where they poop too much. And I don't know why they didn't continue it. I don't know. And then you've got your tournament mode, where you can go through all the different tournaments, and that's kind of how you unlock different eggs as well. So as you progress through the tournament, you get different eggs and such. You see, we've got Omegamon. This guy's just going to wreck. It's not exactly the most thrilling thing in the world, and there's not really much input you can have. And you can also skip them as well, but I'll show you this one. And yeah, as you progress through that tournament bracket, you'll unlock different eggs, different Digivolution routes. Different Digivolution routes depend on different things, how many battles you've done. Specific, it needs to be left on like a specific level of hearts and stuff like that. Different levels of effort. Again, check out the Humulus website if you are interested. One thing they implemented into the 20th that wasn't in the original is the ability, so you can put them there in like a little basket. But it basically just like gives you a bit of rest. It like pauses their timers and stuff, so you don't really have to think about it. Say if you've got like some work to do, or you know you're not going to be able to check on them as often as you can put them in that and it saves you a little bit of a headache. But yeah, Digimon 20th, I quite like the Digimon 20th. It's got a lot of nice colorways. It's probably the easiest way to get into the Digimon V pets, because there's just so much variation in the Digimon you can get. Your favorite Digimon is probably on this device. I do think the battles are a little bit lacking and the tournament mode is not as good as some of the later V pets. I like the Digimon 20th. It's just a nice little bang for your buck V-Pet, and they're pretty readily available. These, you can get them on Amazon for like 15-20 quid. On to the next. Next we have the Digimon X1. This is probably one of my favorite V-Pets. So this is what I like more about this device compared to the 20th. It's a lot more involved, especially with the battles, and there's a couple of quality of life features that are just way better than the 20th. So on here right now we've got Gallantmon X. They're all X, they're all the X variants. You got your training, your basic training. So what I like about this is, again, it's a bit more involved. You've got to like land it on the top bit when you're training. This is kind of how you do your training. So obviously the higher you get it, you'll get a little close up as well. You do more damage, you train better. And then you've got your tournament kind of thing as well. And every day I think you get to roll the dice. You've got a 6 there, and depending on how high you get it, you get like boosts and stuff. But I've completed this. You can see I've done every single one of them. But I like the battles a lot more in this. They're a bit more, you've got like an actual kind of adventure mode rather than just battle after battle. And you've got to roll your dice. You've got a 3, and now you've got to try and hit that target. There we go. So the battles are just a little bit more involved rather than it just being like, you know, who hits first. It just decides who. I don't really know how they do it in the original 20th or in any of the original Digi V pets. With the V1s, they had the blue and the red, and they did actually have different rosters. Each one has different rosters. There was an X1, an X2, which we'll look at in a minute, and then there was an X3, which was Japan only. They never brought it to English, sadly, and it's very expensive now, and I would really like to have one. And if I was going to recommend one, I would recommend the X over the 20th, but I think the 20th is a bit easier for like kind of casual Digimon fans to get into because there's a much bigger roster of the more well-known Digimon. The X variants aren't really like super well-known. But one key thing I really love about the X is this. You have this little light bulb down here, and when you turn this off, he gets put into a freezer, gets put into suspension, and this freezes him, pauses him until you turn it back on. There's no like limited timer like there is with the napping feature on the 20th. It could be, you know, a month later when the battery's completely dead, but he will stay there. And I found this really, really useful because obviously, you know, going to work and stuff, I used to take this to work, put him on freeze, unfreeze him at break, unfreeze him to feed him and stuff. Probably like the best feature of modern V pets in my opinion. And also I should have mentioned as well, I think this has a backup, so you can have up to 2 Digimon on this. We've got Malomyotismon X, and we've also got Alphamon X as well. Oh, you can actually have 2. Oh no, that's just basic Alphamon. Oh yeah, because Alphamon has the X antibody, sorry. But yeah, so you can have 2 in your backup, and then you can also have a 3rd one, so we can get Alphamon out. It just switches them. There's Alphamon. I do love Alphamon. Let's try and see a close-up of Alphamon actually. Yeah. But yeah, that's the Digimon X1. Again, probably my favourite. Quite like it. I hope I'm kind of doing this quite well. I did say it wasn't going to be like a review or like an in-depth review. It's just me kind of showing them off what I like about them and stuff. But I hope this video is enjoyable so far. Now we have the Digimon X2, which has a little bit of an interesting history to it. So you can see there it says silver, and we'll get into that in a minute. So this has the silver cross, but the board inside of here is not the silver board, I'm pretty sure. But basically when these first came out in English, there was a gold one and a silver one, silver cross and a gold cross. And they messed up the boards, basically where the gold board was in the silver case and the silver board was in the gold case. They did eventually fix it, where it's like the Digimon that are on the front aren't even available in the ones with the incorrect board. But yeah, just a little bit of Digimon X history for you. But yeah, this is basically exactly the same as the Digimon X1, except this one has completely different roster of Digimon that you can get, depending on if you get the Gold Cross or the Silver Cross version. On here, we've got Chaosdramon X, it's going to be, I imagine. Yep, Chaosdramon X. I'm fairly certain, yeah, this is the same battle system, same battle and training system as the X1 1X. I don't know what it was really, but I prefer the rosters on the X1 compared to the two X2s. Not really that many Digimon that I was too interested in on the X2, so I always found myself kind of gravitating more towards the X1. Do we have anyone in the backup? No, so you can see how much I played this. I don't have anyone in the backup, whereas on my X1 I have 2 in the backup. This is just the same as the X1, just different roster of Digimon. You've got the freeze feature as well, just not really a roster of Digimon that I personally liked. Obviously as well, a big appeal of the V-Pets is being able to battle with your friends. If you've got anybody who has a V-Pet, which I don't, so we'll let these two have a battle. We've got Alphamon and what was it? I think it's Chaosdramon X. Right, battle. So now we're gonna see who wins this. It's always predetermined who wins when the fight starts, and depending on what other Digivices you connect to, it unlocks different Digimon routes and stuff like that. So it is good to get like multiple V-Pets. I keep saying Digivices instead of V-Pets. There you go, Alphamon won. GG's Alphamon. And if you don't have any friends, you can get something like this. This is I believe this is a DCOM. Yeah, DCOM. These are all fan custom made gadgets, gizmos. It basically just lets you connect this to your computer via USB-C, and you can run emulation programs so you can connect with other V-Pets if you don't have any friends or if you don't own them. Digimon Pendulum Z. The Digimon Pendulums were a different variant of the Digimon V-Pets that came out just after the original run of V-Pets back in the 90s.
振って対戦ニューバトルデジモンペンデュラムモンスター合体もできるよ
And the main difference is they've got a little clacker. And that's kind of how you battle in these. This is the Nature Spirits variant. There's a couple of other Z variants. There's the Deep Sea Savers, Wind Guardians, which I really want to get a Wind Guardian Z, Virus Busters. So they're kind of like remakes of the original Pendulums, all the original Pendulum versions, but with the modern day Digi V-Pets. Quality of life features such as the freeze and stuff like that. I'll show off the main difference. So if we go to the training, so you kind of got to shake it until you get all of those filled up, and then you get your mega hit. You get your close up. But that's kind of the main difference with this between the 20th and the X's, is that you have that kind of physical gameplay element, I guess you could call it. That it's not a pedometer, it is just a clacker that you shake to get a certain number of hits in. Do I have anyone in the backup? I do. I have 2 people in the backup, right? That's Nidhoggmon, I know that for a fact. And yeah, you can also, I should have shown these off in the others really, but you have your library where you can see all the ones you've got, all the Digimon you've got, as well as the ones that you're missing. And yeah, you will have to use a guide like Humulos if you are wanting to complete the library. So again, similar to the X, you have like all these different levels on your tournament bracket, and depending on what level you get to, you'll unlock different branches of different Digimon, etc. But yeah, I quite like the Pendulums. They're an interesting take on the V-Pets. And I really like the Pendulum Zs just because they have all those modern day features. And I would really love to get a Pendulum Z, Wind Guardians, or even the Virus Busters. But the Virus Busters is fairly expensive as far as I'm aware. Also should have mentioned that all of these have replaceable batteries, kind of like big watch batteries. CR2032, these are the types of batteries that these take, and that will be important as we move on to the next V-Pet. Ooh. So next we're going to be looking at a bit of a different Digivice, I'm going to get this mixed up so much. This is the Digimon COLOR version 4. So this is based on the original version 4 of the VPET from back in the 90s. This was released for the 25th anniversary of Digimon in 2023. This was Japanese only, premium Bandai only. It's going to be a running theme. And yeah, this is just the original version 4, but it's got a colour screen. Oh yeah, I must have just started this. I must have just started replaying this. They've released at this point all the original versions 1 to 5 Digimon colors, as well as like some crossover ones. They did a Godzilla one, they did a Monster Hunter one. This is basically just a version 4 with all of the modern day quality of life changes, like the modern day freeze feature. And something I really like about the Digimon colors is you have a bunch of settings here. Right, so now, and you can change the background, and depending on like what VPETs you connect to, you can get different backgrounds. You unlock different backgrounds, and also by completing different quests, you unlock different backgrounds as well. And as you can see, there's a little battery gauge there because this runs off of a lithium battery that you can just charge via USB-C. So it saves you a little bit of money buying those watch batteries all the time. There, you can see it there in the back. Don't really have much to say about this, really. I did like one playthrough, and I don't know, I never really went back to it. But yeah, I quite like the colour. They're not cheap. They're not easy to get because it's premium Bandai. But yeah, I quite like them. I'm quite glad I've got one. I don't really play this one as much as my others, in all honesty. But yeah, if you can get one for a decent price, you know, it's probably one of the better ones to go for. But bear in mind, depending on the version, it will depend on the roster that you get. Because it's not like the 20th where you've got all the rosters. It is like the version is the roster that you get. No, he's had a crap. To say that's on like half volume, that's still very loud. Now, we're moving on to the Pendulum colour. This is the Wind Guardians variant, which I mentioned earlier how I wanted a Wind Guardian Z, and you might be wondering, why would you want a Wind Guardian Z when you've got the Wind Guardians colour version, which is probably vastly superior? And that's because I got a bit of a bad batch. Oh yeah, this Digimon died this morning. Only problem with this is I got a bad batch, and this thing's battery dies so quick. The version 4 colour that I just showed you previously, I had that thing turned off for months, and I turned it back on this morning and it still worked, and it was still, well, it still worked and it still had power. This thing dies within a day. Like, you can charge it to full and it'll die within the day. They should last like at least a week or two. And I've seen a few other people complaining about it, saying that they had similar problems and it's just a bad batch basically. But yeah, this thing's just a Pendulum Z, but with all the colour benefits, I guess. Got different backgrounds, and depending on if you connect to different versions. So this one must have connected to the version 4, because you can see there, got the version 4 background there. Just, yeah, bit of a letdown with this one, but yeah, I really like, the thing, I really liked the Wind Guardians lineup, but I don't think I've even done a single playthrough of this thing, just because I didn't get very far. But yeah, look, I've barely played this thing just because of how let down I was by the battery life. Sorry, I haven't got much to say about it, but yeah, it's cool. The colour screens are really nice. The pixel art of the Digimon are really cool. Obviously, this one's a baby. Just a shame I didn't really get to play much of it. So now we're moving on to Digivices. So like I said at the beginning, these are vastly different from the VPETs. There's no kind of care mechanics. You don't have to constantly watch them. These are more like adventure games where you count steps, and that actually is a step counter. That is a pedometer in there.
Evil Digimon are coming, and we've got to stop them. Only problem is, they get fiercer in each world. Wow!
You count steps and you go on little adventures with your Digimon, and you play through like a little story mode, and that's about it really. So yeah, this is the D arc, I believe it's called. Basically the season 3 Digivice, the Digimon Tames Digivice. Slight problem with this one, with my one, it's got like a bit of a naff speaker, so the speaker will sound a bit weird, but yeah, the D arc that... Yeah, it's a bit crusty. So yeah, basically you have a map. You choose where you want to go on the map, and depending where you choose, you'll have a certain number of steps you will have to take. I'm not going to do this right now, but you have to walk 10,000 steps. and you'll walk those steps with Guilmon, and then when you hit those 2,000 steps you will have a battle. Usually the battles are kind of orientated around battles that happened in the story in the animes. And then you've got a bunch of different stuff, your status, you can change out your Digimon if you find any others. But yeah, I quite like the D-Arc. I haven't played it a whole lot. I don't really have much nostalgia for Tamers in all honesty. I quite like the Tamers anime. And I have ordered the D-Arc colour that they've got coming out. I quite like the pedometer aspect. Reminds me a lot of the Pokewalker. Got the Pokewalker and the Pocket Pikachu, which if you were going to compare the Digivices, particularly the Digivices, not the V-Pets, this is kind of what they are similar to. Step counters where you get rewards for how many steps that you take. Not really much to say about it. It's a nice little thing. They're expensive. These were released just as like general toys back in the day. These weren't like premium Bandai things. It's just they're sought after and they're rare now. But I think mine was fairly cheap because it has like the broken speaker. I want to give a big shout out quickly, very quickly, to Digital Dreamer 09. If you want to see videos with more like in-depth tutorials and actual like playthroughs of these devices, go check out Digital Dreamer 09. He's my favorite Digimon creator. Makes really cozy, laid back, chill videos. So go check him out. He's the reason I got into V-Pets and Digivices back during the pandemic. So go show him some love. I'll leave his channel in the description. Now we're taking a look at the Digivice Version Complete. Can't remember exactly when this came out. I'll put a little note. But this is a Digivice that combines the original Digivice that came out when the anime first came out, the 15th anniversary Digivice, which included the stuff from the Digimon Tri movie series, and then we got this one which includes some extra stuff as well. So it's basically it's those two previous devices plus some extras all combined in one. This is not easy to get for a good price. It was premium Bandai only, and yeah, but this is probably one of my favorite Digivices. I love the presentation on this thing. But yeah, this is very similar to the D-Arc. It's kind of hard to hear, but there is a pedometer in there, and as you walk, Agumon walks as well. You have maps of so these maps are based on the show, but yeah, depending on your area of the map, just like the D-Arc, you've got a certain number of steps to take, and when you hit those steps, you'll have a battle. And you unlock different evolutions and stuff. And I've got a couple of different Digimon. We've got Agumon, Biomon, Gabumon. Gabumon looking a bit scuffed there. And as you complete different areas of the map, you unlock different Digimon that you can walk with. But yeah, that's the Digimon Version Complete. I quite like the Version Complete just because of the presentation and like all the different, very nostalgic Digimon on it. As I say, it's quite expensive. It's quite hard to find, especially when compared to this next one. You probably are going to think that this one's a bit obsolete, but I still like this one, and this is still probably easily in my like top 2 or top 3. So now we have basically the Digimon Version Complete, but this is the 25th anniversary color edition. And yeah, this is basically just the Digimon Version Complete, except it's colour. And you've got some of the sprites from the Vital Bracelet, which I will also be showing in a bit. But yeah, it's got a clacker, it counts your steps, and you get this really cool animation of your Digimon walking through the part of the map that you're on. It actually does change the environment depending on the part of the map you're on. A couple of different Digimon. You can choose different ones straight from the start. You've got tons of different ones from the original anime. This one is based on the original anime. You can also show off the Digivolutions. So obviously there I've got Greymon. I don't think I've got anything past that really. There we go. So it's more based on like the Japanese anime. Again, this is a Japanese exclusive device, only came out on Premium Bandai, and they're very hard to get now. If you are interested in getting any of these devices or trying to get any of them, I would highly recommend Zenin TCG. It's kind of the place to go for Digimon fans. I will leave a link in the description. You can increase the step speed, so if you're a lazy bugger like me, and get through the game quicker. So I might actually be able to show a battle. Give me a sec. Oh, there we go. Oh, we found him. I forget his name. Sorry. And Gomamon. Yay! So we didn't get a battle, but we got an event. So yeah, there's different events. So we've done that one, then we can do the Patamon one, and then probably a battle after that. So yeah, you got like these little things. It's a bit weird. It's just kind of something to look at. It doesn't really do anything. You have like your main Digimon and your partner. They're eating donuts, and now they're like running around playing with each other. Again, it doesn't really do much. It's just sort of there. And then you have the campfire. This is my favourite one, especially with the lighting effects. Really cool device. If you can get one, would highly recommend it, especially if you've got nostalgia for the main original series. It's not like a V-Pet. You don't have to look after Agumon. It's just about walking your steps and getting through those battles and those encounters. And you can turn off the device and come back to it whenever you want. There's no penalization or anything like that. Really, really casual device. It's just a shame that they're so hard to get. And now we've got the D3 color.
Join them up, let the battle begin. It's Digi action. You could win. Digimon!
Digital monsters! Introducing the new D-Terminal and D3 Digivice, each sold separately from Bandai.
Which is personally my most nostalgic Digivice. This is the anime that I kind of grew up watching, the Adventure 2. I also do still have an Adventure 2 original D3 Digivice. This is one we had as a kid, but we've lost the backplate for it, and without the backplate you can't put pressure on the batteries, so it does work, just can't really put any batteries in it. But yeah, this is basically just the same as the 25th Digivice Color, but this is the Adventure 2 cast. So you've got Veemon there, one of my favourites. And you've got a couple of others you can pick from as well. Hawkmon, Tailmon, these are the Japanese names. Armadillomon, similar to the other two Digivices, as you play through the maps, you unlock different events. I'm currently still on Area 1, I have barely played this thing, I only got it a few months ago. Premium Bandai exclusive, quite hard to get. By the campfire, there's no lighting effects on this one, but again it is also USB-C. I don't think I showed that with the 25th. Yeah, it's USB-C, it's USB-C chargeable. Right, let's do a link battle with these, because I should actually be able to do a link. Okay, Agumon. Oh, yeah, there we go. Who's gonna win? Oh, so Veemon won. Whoever gets like the double blast at the end wins. Yeah, just like a fun little thing you can do if you've got friends who have these things, which I don't. But yeah, quite like this. This is probably, out of the two colours, I'd probably find myself going to this a bit more. I do actually want to play it a bit more doing this video, and thinking about doing this video has made me want to kind of go back to this and actually properly play it. As you can see as well, as you shake, Veemon walks through the environment. So this is the final Digivice we're looking at today. Digimon Vital Bracelet B.
Do you have what it takes to be a vital hero? Move your body, power up your monster, and send them into battle. You hold the power to create the ultimate digital monster. Move more, battle more, vital hero.
Which is essentially a Fitbit, but it's got Digimon. This is, well, not this one specifically. So originally they did the Vital Bracelet, and then they did the Digivice V, which was based on the Ghost game anime, and then they came out with the Vital Bracelet BE, which is more of just like a general fitness bracelet. I started out with the Digivice V, and I got that during the pandemic, and I absolutely loved that thing. I played it to absolute death. Went out on walks with it. It works similar to like the other Digivices, where you do steps, and depending on how many steps you do, you evolve into different Digimon. Yeah, I really love this thing. It's super passive. You can do your training, which it's like do 20 squats, but no one really does them. They just do this. Everyone just does this. And Bandai stopped supporting it a long time ago. There used to be an app you could get where you could like put your Digimon on it and do like online battles and stuff, but they've discontinued all that now. It's a bit of a shame. But yeah, it's got your adventure modes. I've got Omegamon or Omnimon there in the backup. We'll get him out. And yeah, the background changes depending on the Digimon you've got out and stuff, and you can change the background to other things. It's really, really cool. It's just like you've just got different stages, and the different stages have different steps. But what's really cool about this, they released like all these different DIMs. I haven't really got that many. These can be quite expensive. The VB itself, there's different ones like themed. There's Digimon themed ones. This one's just like a bog standard one. You can see how much I used it by how suntanned the strap is. But these are fairly cheap. You can still get these on Amazon. You can get like the My Hero Academia one, but it will still work with the Digimon Dims. So you've got like all these different Dims. This is the one for Gabumon. We've got one over here for Agumon, and they all have different lines, Digimon that you can digivolve into. And then again, if you're curious about this, Humulos.com, I'll put a link in the description, has all the information on all these. Ancient Warriors is the Vmon line. But yeah, you plug these into here, and it probably won't do it now because I've already got Omnimon on there. But yeah, and then you get put an egg on there, and you just raise it basically. You got so many hours to raise it. You go for walk. Just as someone who lives in the countryside and goes for walks fairly often, these kinds of devices really appeal to me. Just like kind of feels like you're going on a little adventure, no matter how sad that might sound. When I was a kid, I absolutely loved stuff like the Poke Walker. You've kind of got to have a bit of an imagination with these types of devices, and I think that's where a lot of the appeal comes from for me. But yeah, this was the first kind of step into Digivices / VPETs that I got into, and it was because of Digital Dream 09's video on the original Digivice V that I got into these, and I played these to death. I absolutely love the Vital Bracelet. But yeah, I absolutely love the Vital Bracelet series. Just a shame that Bandai, anything that comes to Digimon, it's like, oh, if it doesn't sell a ridiculously high number, then the Western fans, they don't care. It's like, we do, it's just that you never release anything over here. The community around these devices, not just this, but all the other VPETs and stuff, is huge. And there's tons of people out there making like custom software. I mean, this has custom software on it. Like it says like the date up there and stuff. That's not on the normal software because we've all got to support each other as Digimon fans, because Bandai sure as hell don't care. Although, to be fair, Time Stranger did sell very well, and they were constantly talking about how it sold very well, so hopefully it'll finally give them that nudge that we want more Digimon stuff in the West. Really, really love this thing. I guess I can show you a battle. This is another thing with the custom software, is usually to get a battle, you have to walk so many steps and then you'll have a battle, and certain Digivolutions need a certain amount of battles, but with the custom software you can just hold down this button and it gives you a battle. And we've got Wegarurumon with Omnimon. We're absolutely going to wreck this thing. This is a pretty passive battle system. I'll try and make this as epic as possible in the editing. I also really love the sprites on the Vital Bracelet. They're quite unique. And yeah, these VPETs, these use the sprites from the Vital Bracelet as well. These VPETs, these Digivices kind of get mixed up so much. But yeah, we won! Yeah, you can't really show any like battles between other Vital Bracelets because it all used to be online and all the servers are closed now. It's brilliant. Thank you, Bandai. Thank you so much. Right, let me outro this video. Thank you very much for watching this video. Again, I apologize if it was super messy and not like super precise and informative, but it was just meant to be me showing off my collection, talking about why I like Digimon and Digivices and all this kind of stuff. Again, check the links in the description to people who know way more about this stuff and are way more informed, and if you want to know any specifics about specific devices. Digimon, I always loved Digimon growing up, mainly more because of like the obscure video games. I didn't really grow up with like many of the Digivices and didn't grow up with any of the VPETs, but like a lot of people might remember Digimon World. This is basically just an open world 3D Digimon VPET game for the PS1.
80 renegade Digimon! They run away, they go crazy, and you have to get them back! The Digimon World video game, new from Bandai!
I remember stuff like that, and like the Adventure 2 anime, the movie, which was just like so bizarre, like it was just like a mishmash of like 3 different Japanese movies and like horrific like early 2000s like trash rock. That's what I remember about Digimon. And I think the main difference for me with Digimon and Pokemon is Pokemon always remained consistent throughout my life because Game Freak were always pushing Pokemon and the Pokemon Company were always pushing Pokemon to the West. It felt like for a while Bandai just stopped caring and stopped pushing Digimon to the West. So Digimon has always just been on and off with me, other than the video games, stuff like Cyber Sleuth, Hacker's Memory, and now we've got Time Stranger, Digimon Survive. The video games for Digimon have always kind of been there, but they've never been like massive. But now that Time Stranger's done actually quite well, I hope that this finally gives Bandai the push in the West. I do love Digimon. I probably love it just as much as Pokemon, but for different reasons. If you would like to see more stuff about Digimon, I would love to do like a video where I just go out and go for a walk with something like this Digivice or maybe even the Vital Bracelet. If that's the type of video you'd like to see, let me me know, because I know it's the type of video that's very different from my typical videos. So if enough people want it, I'll do it, because it's a video I actually really want to make, but I'm worried about how it might affect the algorithm. Hello, it's Tom here in editing. I just wanted to add a few extra little thoughts I had that I neglected to mention in the outro, and just things that have come to my mind as I've been thinking about Digimon after editing and filming this video. I did neglect to mention at the end there what are kind of my favourite Digivices and V-Pets. So absolute #1 favourite V-Pet out of all the ones I personally played is the X1, for the reasons that I mentioned in the video, but I just wanted to make that clear. It is the X1. And my favourite Digivice, controversial, is the Digimon Ver Complete. I do love the colour Digivices and how vibrant, how much personality they have, how much love and care was put into them by Bandai for once. Half the fun of Digimon for me is using your imagination, and sometimes the colour screens do take a little bit of that away, and I'm also just a bit of a sucker for these kind of pixelated screens and the sound effects. For me, this is what kind of like Digimon V-Pets and Digivices should be. Love the colour devices, but I have a real soft spot for these kind of retro style devices. Again, the idea of walking around with your Digimon is something that Pokemon has never really captured for me, even with stuff like the Pokewalker or like Pokemon Go. It's something that I feel like Pokemon will never be able to beat Digimon on, is just the feeling of these things being real. I know that sounds a bit sad, but yeah. And let me know in the comments if there's any V-Pets or Digivices that you have got, or you would like to get after watching this video. Again, let me know if I've kind of piqued your interest with this. And as always, if you've enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe. Big shout out to the channel members on screen right now for directly supporting the channel. It's always greatly appreciated. And if you would like to become a channel member, it's only $1.99 a month, and you get a lot of different channel member benefits. That's it then. That's it. That's goodbye from me, Vmon and Hawkmon, as we sit around the fire. Again, hope you've enjoyed this video, despite it probably being a mess, although I say that about all of my videos that I don't plan very well. Either way, thank you very much for watching, and take care.